Hi, I'm Brittany Drozd, and thank you for joining us today for another video in my Legacy series. What is my Legacy series? Well, I interview fun entrepreneurs who are involved with lifelong legacy projects that are making a huge impact in the world. And sometimes when you're the one who has the big project that's making the impact, it's really hard to see. But that's not necessarily the case for Ron. Hi, Ron. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Brittany.
Ron Zauner has a project in the Dominican Republic called Providing Opportunity. And he and I were introduced through another legacy interview that I had done with Jonathan Kay. And if you have seen it, that's awesome. You've heard about his project. If not, check out the video on my YouTube page or on my website. So Ron, thanks for joining us again. The first question I have to ask people is, how would you define the word legacy?
To me, the word sounds pompous, but
Good, that's honest. I love it.
well, it's true. To me, it does. It sounds stuffy, but as it goes, I've had time to think about that, and to me, legacy is after you're dead, how you're thought of, what you've done, what difference you made, how the world has changed because of your impact. That's what legacy means to me.
Great. And so since you've had a little bit of time to think about it, have you found a way to reconcile it so it doesn't sound so pompous? Because impact in the world before or after your death can be a really great thing.
Well, I feel wonderful about what I'm doing. It's just I'm shy about self-congratulation, or actually, I'm shy about other people patting me on the back, and so I don't know really how to deal with it. It's just one of the things I digest. When I started doing what I do,
well, let's start with that. Tell us what you do. Tell us what you do, Ron.
I adopted a community of 350 people that are squatters, camped out or in shacks behind a hotel that I stayed at on a vacation with some friends. And when I retired, I found myself wasting time on the edge of town. I don't like golf, so I was learning to fly remote control airplanes. And after 8 months, I asked myself, is this what I'm going to do until I fall over someday? So I went home that evening and I asked my wife, what do you want to do with the rest of our lives? And she said that she wanted to teach English someplace far away as a second language. And I said, well, there's this place that I've gone that you haven't been. And I told her a bit about the place called Barrio Blanco in Cabarete, Dominican Republic. And I said, I'd like to help these people. So we went there a month later, and my wife found a good opportunity to teach. And I went through this village and asked everybody how I could help them. And that was how I started doing what I do.
And how many years ago was that?
That was 7 years ago.
7 years
and,
ago.
Everybody was just so nice to me and welcomed me into their shacks. And they asked if I could help them with the flooding, because they squatted on land that was lagoon swampland. And when it rains, it floods. And so I realized that I couldn't do much myself. There was more that these people needed. Their houses were terrible. Made of scraps of garbage and just anything to shelter from the rain, and no bathrooms, just tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it caught me, caught me right here.
Yeah.
And so I went to work, and during the course of almost a year, I did preparation work to try to launch what was the basic part of what we've done. The start especially was building new homes with the people there. And so what I did is asked people started in North America for donations for materials, with my commitment that I would go to Dominican Republic, to this village, and I would work with the residents to build new houses. And so donors gave money for materials, and with my commitment that if they didn't see the house being built, going up, 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 with the happy homeowners moving into it, I said that then I would be a crook. And here's my home address.
That's a good story. It's a good start. So how has that evolved to the projects and how you serve today?
Well, the first year we broke ground with enough money to build 10 or 11 houses. And each of the residents I went to and said, you're living in a shack, right? Yes. What if I had a donor willing to buy all the materials to build a brand new home right here where your shack is? Could you live in it? No, because it's not built into a house, right? That's right. So I have a donor willing to give all those materials, but you need to give me one strong worker from your family every day. We'll all work together. We'll build a bunch of houses, and at the end, it's your house. So the first project started with 10 or 11 houses, but I kept working in the mornings and at night after building and before building to find more donors. And we concluded the first year project with 18 homes and a school. And we put in an underground water system that was needed. And donors loved it, and the residents loved it, and there were more houses to build. And so we broke ground again the next January 2013, built 20 more homes and a medical clinic. And then the next year, I paused building and started scholarships for the kids and young adults in the barrio because they need a future.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you guys manage, you're doing housing with the community, you're doing education scholarships with the community?
Correct. We have 27 children going to private school, 6 in university, and 3 in medical school. Wow. And we provide everything needed for them to attend their schools. We also opened a medical clinic where we provide free services for anybody who comes in. Also, we feed 57 small children every morning for school. So they have supplemental vitamins to grow. We've done a jillion things in the barrio. We've had a Christmas dinner each year for the past 3 years that all the residents get together, and we have tables strewn. We beg tables and we put them all up and down the main street, and it's a time for the community to unite. The students owe me an hour of community service each week. So we use them to keep litter pickup every other day. We have litter crews. There are between 20 and 30 people that go through the village and clean all the litter. We plant gardens. We made a basketball court. Just a bunch of stuff.
So the model you've really used, and that's been successful for you guys, is one where the participants really take an active role, the beneficiaries really take an active role. They become the builders of their own homes, and then they have more ownership, buy into the project.
Absolutely. And you touched on it. I would say that the biggest difference about what we do is a different approach defining the scope of what we do. Typically, charities define their scope as the service they offer. So it might be education, it might be Habitat for Humanity building houses, it might be Doctors Without Borders. The scope we have, which is different, is the community. The borders of Barrio Blanco are defined by a canal that goes around the barrio. And within that canal is Barrio Blanco, and the residents, we work to improve their lives and lift their opportunities in a holistic way rather than defined by the service.
So Ron, you were talking about the moment as, when you were first on vacation, and then your wife saying she wanted to teach English. But within you, was there a defining moment or decision where you really committed, like you decided you're going all in, you're making this your new life's mission?
Yes, there were two moments. The first one, what I already mentioned, was when I decided I wanted to do something with my life of value.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Forgive me.
Okay.
This touches me to the core. The second was after we finished the first project. I was walking out of Barrio Blanco. Please cut this part out. I was walking out of Barrio Blanco. I looked back and I saw how meaningful it was. And
For
I
the
realized,
residents in their new homes. And
I realized I couldn't stop. There were more people that were needing, and the donors were ready to give. And how could I be the person who fell down at that moment when I saw how meaningful it was? Brittany, we had a key ceremony where the new homeowners received their keys.
mm-hmm.
It was the most touching moment in my life. And so that was the decision point.
That you were going to keep going and make it happen.
That's right. Committed.
That's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. And I love your authenticity in it, and that it touches you so deeply. And I think the most beautiful thing we could experience in our life is to be touched that deeply by something, and to feel that purposeful and that aligned with our life and our purpose here. So thank you so much for being willing to share that part of it, because it's very important. And it's important for people to remember that that's real and that you can create that for yourself. Obviously not just by yourself, but this isn't always easy, right? So tell me about a time where something went massively wrong, where there was maybe what would be perceived as a huge failure along the way.
When I thought about that, what I came to was my personal life before the project. In the year 2000, I invested in the stock. Invested is the wrong term. I played in the stock market and lost our IRA account, and it was devastating. And felt like everything I had worked for hard was gone. And it was my own foolishness. So I had to swallow that. That was a big failure. Another failure would be, sorry, I made a note and I can't read my note. But another failure would be, I thought about without putting on a note, would be 2 children that I lost, if you want to call it that way. One is a little boy named Christopher. I met him when he was 7 years old. He was living on the street. And he's going to turn into a gangster. He's 13 now, and that's his direction. He had no love growing up at all. And I don't have the ability to get him what he needs. So swallowing that is really hard. And there's another girl who's 15, who I did everything. I love this little girl, and I did everything to try to open up a future for her. And she fell into kind of a trap that's part of the culture where young girls get pregnant, and all they want is a boyfriend to love them. And we know what happens after when a young girl gets pregnant. She loses her whole future. And so that's a failure. That's a failure. So there are three big failures. We've had, things happen along the way. When you're doing things in a third world country, you encounter a lot of obstacles, unforeseen things like crazy stuff. And you digest them and you alter course and you continue forward.
Right.
But those were failures.
Well, tell me about something you were really afraid to do, but you ended up doing it anyway, and it actually ended up working out. So maybe something that you had a tremendous amount of fear about pursuing, but it actually ended up working out.
I think I would have to say, touching back to starting point, I made commitments to donors that I was going to accomplish what I said I was going to do with their money. And when people put their trust in you, it's a weight. And I was going into uncertain territory, building homes in a third world country. I never built a home before. And yet, it was take the plunge or nothing happens. And so I took the plunge. Nervous as a cat, but yes, and it's worked out beyond my any dream I've had.
That's awesome. Thank you. What advice would you give to the person who's watching this video that either is really unhappy with their station in life, with their job that they have, or feeling like really not aligned with any real purpose or meaning in life? They don't feel connected to a community or to other people. What advice would you give that person?
I don't read self-help books, but by accident, I bought one. And I bought it because it had great quotes on the every left-hand page, just various quotes that were crazy. And eventually I looked at the right page, and the book was called, in big capital letters, Do It. And it was formative to me. What it did is it said, you can have anything that you want, but you can't have everything you want. And so the book led you through a process of first saying, okay, here's all the things I want. And then culling them out and defining your dream, what you really want, and being specific. And then kissing off all the other things that you also want. Because if you spread yourself so thin, you can't marshal all your resources to accomplish what you really want. Mm-hmm. And so I would say the advice that I gained from the book was define your dream, think about it. What do you really want? And then kiss off the other stuff. You're not going to get it anyway. You weren't getting it up to them. And you're not going to get it if you go like that. And then the book pointed out, and it's true, that when you define your dream and you do the process I mentioned, and you marshal your resources to get your dream, then every day you wake up happier because you're progressing toward what you really want. Mm-hmm. That. So to me, that was the most valuable advice I think that I got. Along the way, there's things that people have mentioned, being persistent. And we introduced with each other in a conversation that I forget your part exactly, and I wouldn't want to paraphrase it, but my part was go for it. Just a lot of people sit on the curb and they say, I think we should do this, or I think I should do that, and the should do sort of thing. Eventually, you have a lot of reasons why, well, it's not going to really work, and you talk yourself out of things. And I'd say you step in it, and you commit yourself, and you go forward, and you ongoing rebalance, but don't lose your goal. Keep your goal, that's your dream, and go for it. So to me, it's get started and put your both feet in. Yep.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for sharing that part with us. I feel that I think there's this fear to commit. In the work that I do, I get to know people intimately in that way. And and hear about their dreams. But then when it comes to, well, why aren't you doing that? Like, why aren't you making that happen? It's not so much that people don't know how, but it's that fear of, well, if I speak this out loud and I let people know, all of a sudden I'm accountable for that, right? And now, like, am I really all in? Am I really willing to do that work? Am I willing to make those sacrifices, right? Am I willing to, like you said, like, kiss off all the other things so that you can accomplish that big thing? And that's a really important piece of it. You have to know what to say no to.
Yes. And you know what? Being able to accept failure is part of the process.
That's exactly why I asked that question.
You know, you have to be, and believe in yourself. You can do it. If it's what you really want, if you're really committed, you can do it. And
have you ever considered doing like inspirational speaking, motivational speaking?
Well, I end up motivating a lot of people actually in what I do. I have to motivate.
You're just so good at wearing the emotions of it. It's so real for you all the time. I think that part is really touching, and as much as you maybe don't like it, I'm really glad that it shows through in the work that you do. And every time I've spoken to you, you've been this authentic and this real about the barrio and about providing opportunity, and you live it full out, and that's incredibly commendable. I have huge respect for you.
You know what's embarrassing, Brittany, is it's something that I've learned about myself over time. I just can't control, is that when I feel emotion really strongly, I have tears that come down my eyes. And it started when I got married. I was marrying my wife and I was crying like a baby. And I've had to, it's not macho. And I noticed that, and I'm embarrassed about it. And the only thing I do is I can't control it, actually. But I've come to think of it as a strength in reality. It reflects that it's like perspiring. When you're exerting yourself and you're just putting it all out and you perspire. Well, for me, when I'm putting it all out from my heart, then I tear. And it feels awkward.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I want to leave it there with that. And Ron, how can people connect with Providing Opportunity, and how can they connect with the barrio, and how could they help serve your legacy project, your mission?
My opportunity for a plug. Okay. We have a website, providingopportunity.org.
I'll put it in the link below the video.
Cool. That I don't keep it up to date fully, but I do engage with people on a daily basis, often hours. You see that from our interaction. But I do it primarily with Gmail, which is providingopportunity@gmail.com. And I send out donor updates to people who donate money so they see how their money is used. My family pays all the expenses of the organization so people know where their money goes. I work to to show the donors who give money how their money is being used directly. And if possible, I connect them to the people who benefit. So we're working right now to raise $70,000 to buy the land. Actually, the property will cost $150,000. It's 2.5 acres in the middle of Cabarete, the town, to turn the people into landowners instead of squatters. They face an eviction possibility, and this would just totally turn everything. So anybody interested in helping would contact me via providingopportunity@gmail.com. My name is Ron, and I'll be responsive. I'll answer every question honestly, and know that I'm both feet in, and there are a bunch of other people that are engaged with what we're doing, and we're really making a difference, Brittany. We're really making a difference. I want to say one last thing, because when you grow up at my age, there were songs, as we all kind of catch, and as I was in my late teens, there was an idea we can change the world, rearrange the world. And we all, when we were 18 and 19 and 22, felt like we were going to do that. We were going to be the generation that made the difference. And generally, we haven't done so good. And so I would suggest to others, make a difference, jump in, go do it. And you'll realize what I did, which is incredible to me, that you work for money through your life, and when you lose money, your stomach tightens up, and when you make money, your stomach feels smooth. But I learned there's a different banking system that is your heart, and I never realized that there's this massive account that you can grow by helping others. It's incredible to me. I never expected it, but it's so enriching.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Britt.
For your honesty and for all the work that you do, and for being both feet in and unapologetically changing lives. It's been a pleasure to interview you and to bear witness to your emotions and your passion. Like I said, I'm providing links below the video for how to contact Ron. You guys can also contact me if you have any trouble trying to figure out how to contact Ron. Please, I would love to hear everyone else's experiences and how you were able to align your passions or your purpose and to create something beautiful like Ron has just shared with us. Welcome all of your comments and feedback. Thanks again for watching this video, and stay tuned for more legacy videos coming your way. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.